crore people out of poverty. Humanity has reached a level, we have evolved enough technology to provide food, clothes, shelter, medical care, all the fundamental basic needs for all 8 billion people. One side the homes foreclosure and the homes are just locked without people. The other side millions are in the platforms homeless. One side tons of food is getting wasted and getting destroyed to maintain the price. The other side millions dying without food. Millions of clothes used only once is dumped into ocean because people don't know what to do with it. I have decided KAILASA is going to pick up a project. I call that project as Ishana, collecting these things which is getting dumped and wasted, which is in turn becoming hazard for the nature, and distributing it to the place and countries, people for whom it's a great boon. In this Chaturmasya alone, we will be able to bring 1 crore people out of poverty. Humanity has reached a level, we have evolved enough technology to provide food, clothes, shelter, medical care, all the fundamental basic needs for all 8 billion people. One side the homes foreclosure and the homes are just locked without people. The other side millions are in the platforms homeless. One side tons of food is getting wasted and getting destroyed to maintain the price. The other side millions dying without food. Millions of clothes used only once is dumped into ocean because people don't know what to do with it. I have decided KAILASA is going to pick up a project. I call that project as Ishana, collecting these things which is getting dumped and wasted, which is in turn becoming hazard for the nature, and distributing it to the place and countries, people for whom it's a great boon. In this Chaturmasya alone, we will be able to bring 1 crore people out of poverty. Humanity has reached a level, we have evolved enough technology to provide food, clothes, shelter, medical care, all the fundamental basic needs for all 8 billion people. One side the homes foreclosure and the homes are just locked without people. The other side millions are in the platforms homeless. One side tons of food is getting wasted and getting destroyed to maintain the price. The other side millions dying without food. Millions of clothes used only once is dumped into ocean because people don't know what to do with it. I have decided KAILASA is going to pick up a project. I call that project as Ishanya, collecting these things which is getting dumped and wasted, which is in turn becoming hazard for the nature, and distributing it to the place and countries, people for whom it's a great boon. In this Chaturmasya alone, we will be able to bring 1 crore people out of poverty. Humanity has reached a level, we have evolved enough technology to provide food, clothes, shelter, medical care, all the fundamental basic needs for all 8 billion people. One side the homes foreclosure and the homes are just locked without people. The other side millions are in the platforms homeless. One side tons of food is getting wasted and getting destroyed to maintain the price. The other side, millions dying without food. Millions of clothes used only once is dumped into ocean because people don't know what to do with it. I have decided KAILASA is going to pick up a project. I call that project as Ishanya, collecting these things which is getting dumped and wasted, which is in turn becoming hazard for the nature, and distributing it to the place and countries, people for whom it's a great boon. In this Chaturmasya alone, we will be able to bring 1 crore people out of poverty. Humanity has reached a level, we have evolved enough technology to provide food, clothes, shelter, medical care, all the fundamental basic needs for all 8 billion people. One side the homes foreclosure and the homes are just locked without people. The other side millions are in the platforms homeless. One side tons of food is getting wasted and getting destroyed to maintain the price. The other side millions dying without food. Millions of clothes used only once is dumped into ocean because people don't know what to do with it. I have decided KAILASA is going to pick up a project. I call that project as Ishanya, collecting these things which is getting dumped and wasted, which is in turn becoming hazard for the nature, and distributing it to the place and countries, people for whom it's a great boon. In this Chaturmasya alone, we will be able to bring 1 crore people out of poverty. Humanity has reached a level, we have evolved enough technology to provide food, clothes, shelter, medical care, all the fundamental basic needs for all 8 billion people. One side the homes foreclosure and the homes are just locked without people. The other side millions are in the platforms homeless. One side tons of food is getting wasted and getting destroyed to maintain the price. The other side, millions dying without food. Millions of clothes used only once is dumped into ocean because people don't know what to do with it. I have decided KAILASA is going to pick up a project. I call that project as Ishana, collecting these things which is getting dumped and wasted, which is in turn becoming hazard for the nature, and distributing it to the place and countries, people for whom it's a great boon. In this Chaturmasya alone, we will be able to bring 1 crore people out of poverty.
Nithyanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gaganasadisham Tattvamasya Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Nithyanandam. We welcome all KAILASA vasis attending from all KAILASA monasteries, gurukuls, temples, ashrams, and centers from around the world. We welcome all our viewers from Nithyananda TV, KAILASA TV, Hinduism Now TV, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and all those blessed to have Nana Diksha two-way video conferencing who are joining us for today's program. We welcome all of you for today's pre-Satsang segment, which will be followed by today's Alive Satsang. We'll start with a brief introduction to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasanidhanam, His Divine Holiness, Bhagavan Shri Nithyananda Paramashivam, is the reviver of KAILASA, a macrocosmic, ancient, enlightened Hindu civilizational nation. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is the 1008th incarnation of Paramashiva, as per Hinduism, recognized by his predecessors who are enlightened masters and adepts. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has made the science of power manifestation, yoga, and temple-based universities a lifestyle for humanity. Before the year 1981, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was identified as the incarnation of Paramashiva by spiritual adepts and enlightened masters of Hinduism. In the year 1981, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was initiated into Bala Sannyas and performed his first Chaturmasya Vratam at the age of 3. In the year 1988, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the future Guru Mahasanidhanam, or Pontiff of the Thondai Mandala Adinam, the oldest monastic university. On 24th May 1994, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was declared as the successor of Arunachala Sangapita by Guru Parapa. In the year 1999, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism founded the mission Nithyananda Sangha to revive KAILASA internationally. The same year in 1999, he was also coronated as the Guru Mahasanidhanam. He was declared as a successor of Kashi Sarangapita. In the year 2002, on 4th November, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism founded Adi KAILASA Sarangapita. On 1st January 2004, he was declared as the successor of Bhagyanagra Shripura Sarangapita. In the year 2004, on 31st December, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was declared as the incumbent emperor of Suryavamsa Solanki Samrajyam of Suryavamsa lineage. In the year 2007, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was declared as the Guru Mahasanidhanam of Adi Pallava Sarangapita. In the same year in 2007, he was also declared as the Mahamandaleshwar of Mahanirvani Akhada. On 27th April 2012, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was declared as the 293rd Guru Mahasanidhanam of Madurai, Shamla Pita Sarangapita, the oldest Hindu papal state and monastic kingdom. In the year 2013, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was officially coronated as the Mahamandaleshwar, or the Supreme Spiritual Head of Mahanirvani Akhada, which is the largest apex monastic order. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was the youngest Mahamandaleshwar during his coronation. In the year 2013, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was also declared as the Acharya Mahamandaleshwar, or the head of the Atal Akhada. Atal Akhada is the oldest monastic order in Hinduism. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated by Acharya Mahamandaleshwar Sukadevanandaji, the then incumbent spiritual leader. In the year 2014, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the Guru Mahasanidhanam of Tanjore. The same year in 2014, he was also coronated as a Guru Mahasanidhanam of Tiruvaruradinam and as a Guru Mahasanidhanam of Vedaranyamadinam and as a Guru Mahasanidhanam of Panchanadikudamadinam. In the year 2015, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as a Guru Mahasanidhanam of Dharmamukti Swargapuramadinam. He was also coronated in the same year in 2015 as a Guru Mahasanidhanam of Adi Pitha Koladamat, and was also coronated and elected as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism by a congregation of over 1,000 spiritual leaders or pontiffs. Now, let us look at some of the global initiatives of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism through KAILASA. 28 years of relentless humanitarian services and initiatives, including free vegetarian food, medical services, natural disaster relief, women empowerment initiatives, conflict resolution and peace initiatives, sustainable Hindu practices through various international agencies and bodies. The following images represent a small glimpse of the magnanimous contribution of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism throughout the 28 years of relentless hard work and providing humanitarian services to various international agencies and bodies. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has authored more than 300 books and written more than 10,000 articles in 3 languages, English, Tamil, and Sanskrit, which have been translated into 50 languages with over 1,000 titles. Over 20 million copies, books, and articles have been sold, read, and downloaded. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has established the largest Hindu library with over 1 million books, 1 million palm leaf scriptures, and over 20 million digital books. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is revered as the most prolific and most viewed Guru in the digital world. He is read and watched by over 1 billion followers in Hinduism. Over 10,000 hours of discourses have been delivered by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and have gathered more than 1 billion views on social media. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is respected as commentator of all sacred scriptures such as Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Shiva Sutras, Yoga Sutras, Ashtavakra Gita, Jain Sutras, etc. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is honored as leader of Hinduism. He is the most awarded, internationally recognized Hindu leader. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is acclaimed as one of the top 100 spiritually influential living personalities by Watkins' Mind, Body, Spirit magazine. The Sovereign Order of KAILASA, led by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagwan Shri Nithyananda Paramashivam, and Nithyananda Order of monks, nuns, and Hindu diaspora are working for global peace and to give superconscious breakthrough to humanity. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is the establisher of the largest Hindu university in the world with satellite campuses in 150 countries. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is the establisher of more than 1,000 KAILASA Enlightenment ecosystems. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is the founder and reviver of over 100 Sarvangapithas. With this, we come to the end of this segment on an introduction to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. We'll be back very shortly. Please stay with us. Thank you. Nithyananda.
Humanity has reached a level, we have evolved enough technology to provide food, clothes, shelter, medical care, all the fundamental basic needs for all 8 billion people. One side the homes foreclosure and the homes are just locked without people. The other side, millions are in the platforms homeless. One side, tons of food is getting wasted and getting destroyed to maintain the price. The other side, millions dying without food. Millions of clothes used only once is dumped into ocean because people don't know what to do with it. I have decided KAILASA is going to pick up a project. I call that project as Ishana, collecting these things which is getting dumped and wasted, which is in turn becoming hazard for the nature, and distributing it to the place and countries, people for whom it's a great boon. In this Chaturmasya alone, we will be able to bring 1 crore people out of poverty. Humanity has reached a level, we have evolved enough technology to provide food, clothes, shelter, medical care, all the fundamental basic needs for all 8 billion people. One side the homes foreclosure and the homes are just locked without people. The other side, millions are in the platforms homeless. One side, tons of food is getting wasted and getting destroyed to maintain the price. The other side, millions dying without food. Millions of clothes used only once is dumped into ocean because people don't know what to do with it. I have decided KAILASA is going to pick up a project. I call that project as Ishana, collecting these things which is getting dumped and wasted, which is in turn becoming hazard for the nature, and distributing it to the place and countries, people for whom it's a great boon. In this Chaturmasya alone, we will be able to bring 1 crore people out of poverty. Humanity has reached a level, we have evolved enough technology to provide food, clothes, shelter, medical care, all the fundamental basic needs for all 8 billion people. One side the homes foreclosure.
Nithyananda, welcome back. Now we'll be looking at the world today and the situation of poverty around the world. About 9% of the world, or 9.2% of the world, or 689 million people worldwide live in extreme poverty on less than $1.9 a day. 430 million people will be living in extreme poverty by 2030. That is 30 million more than last year's projection, an increase by 7.5%. 1.3 billion people are already living in multidimensional poverty. Half of these, 50%, are children. 32% of these are under 10 years of age, as per UNDP. COVID-19 has doubled poverty rate in many parts of the world. Throughout the world, people are struggling to cope up with the pandemic. Poverty rate has jumped from 21.6% in 2018 to 42% in 2020. Average per capita household expenditure of extreme poor has decreased by 45%, which means it has become almost half. And the poor households, especially, have been forced to adopt various strategies to cope up with the pandemic. For example, 48% have resorted to borrowing, 32% are relying on their savings, 27% have reduced their expenditure on non food items, 27% have changed their dietary patterns involuntarily, 16% have resorted to donations from friends and relatives. Now, let us look at some of the facts, main points about global poverty. 689 billion people live in extreme poverty, surviving on less than $1.9 a day. Children and youth account for two-thirds of the world's poor, and women represent a majority in most regions. Extreme poverty is increasingly concentrated in sub-Saharan Africa. About 40% of the region's people live on less than $1.9 a day. Extreme poverty rates nearly doubled in the Middle East and North Africa between the year 2015 and 2018, from 3.8% to 7.2%, mostly because of crises in Syria and Yemen. Although countries impacted by fragility, crises, and violence are home to about 10% of the world's population, they account for more than 40% of the people living in extreme poverty. By the year 2030, an estimated 67% of the world's poor will live in a fragile context. About 70% of people older than 50 who live in extreme poverty have no schooling or only some basic education. 1.3 billion people in 107 developing countries, which account for 22% of the world's population, live in multidimensional poverty. About 84.3% of multidimensionally poor live in sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia. 644 million children are experiencing multidimensional poverty. COVID-19 pandemic threatens to reverse years of progress in the fight against global poverty and income inequalities, and it jeopardizes the future of a generation of children. COVID-19 drove an additional 97 million people into extreme poverty in the year 2020, according to World Bank estimates. More than a year into the pandemic, the World Bank stresses that there is still much we don't know concerning its impact on global poverty in the year 2022. The impacts of COVID-19, rising global inequality, and soaring food prices are said to send more than a quarter billion more people into poverty this year, according to charity group Oxfam International. The combined hit may result in a total of 860 million people living below the $1.9 a day line by the end of year 2022, or 263 million more than the projection before the pandemic. That's equivalent to the entire population of UK, France, Germany, and Spain combined. The monthly child poverty rate has increased from 12% in December 2021 to 17% in January 2022, the highest rate since the end of the year 2020. The almost 5 percentage point increase represents an almost 41% increase in poverty, equivalent to 3.7 million more children in poverty. Working poverty affects as many as 169 million youth in the world. The number increases to 286 million if the near poor are included. About 152 million young workers live in households that are below the poverty line. They comprise 24% of all working poor. Globally, large number of young people are out of school and engaged in child labor. About 1/10 of the total child population, that is 168 million children aged between 5 to 17 years, were involved in child labor. In developing countries, an estimated 2 by 3 of the youth are not fulfilling their economic potential. Now let us understand the link between poverty and violence. Poverty is widely believed to cause violence. The relationship between the two can be almost understood by the cycle of violence. Almost all the 39 countries that have suffered civil wars since the year 2000 have also had one in the previous 3 decades. People in these countries are also more than twice as likely to be malnourished, 3 times as likely to miss school, and twice as likely to die in infancy. The United Nations reports that countries that suffer large-scale violence lose almost 1% in poverty reduction each year. It is often claimed that the crime rate among poor people is rising. But is this poverty really the mother of crime? First and foremost, it is quite apparent that many poor people become criminal because they have nothing to lose. So they don't think about the consequences of their offenses. There are many poor people all over the world who have nothing to eat. The only way to get some food is shoplifting. In addition, the crime rate in poor countries is normally higher. According to UNICEF, 22,000 children die each day due to poverty and more than 3 each second. In the time it took for us to read this paragraph, 3 more children died. So now we look at the solution that is being brought forward by the Supreme Point of Hinduism, our beloved Guru, through one of the global projects of KAILASA. We'll be looking at Ishana project next. Actual truth is, humanity as a modern society has already reached a state of technology and infrastructure to provide food, clothing, and medical care for all 8 billion people calling planet Earth home. Unfortunately, our decision makers have not reached the necessary conscious level to make the humanitarian decisions of providing basic needs for all 8 billion people. The survival needs for all 8 billion people doesn't depend on availability of housing and food, but rather on the conscious level of decision makers. It is only consciousness we lack, nothing else. We'll be illustrating this through various examples in these 4 segments, mainly in these 4 parts. First is the food wastage, then medical wastage, clothing wastage, home and shelter wastage. These 4 aspects represent how there is a surplus on one side, and despite the surplus, there is a shortage and scarcity on the other side because of one or the other reason. For example, food wastage. One side dumps tons of food to the waste in the oceans and landfills in order to maintain steady prices. On the other side, millions die of hunger. Medical equipment wastage. One side dumps functioning medical equipment for new models. The other side, millions die without access to very basic medical equipment. Clothing wastage. One side dumps millions of tons of barely worn clothes into the ocean. The other side struggles for basic clothing. Home and shelter wastage. One side faces home foreclosures and empty locked homes. The other side faces homelessness in millions. Now we'll be looking at food wastage. 1/3 of the global food production is wasted versus 35 million affected by food poverty. 1/3 of the food produced in the world for human consumption every year, approximately 1.3 billion tons, gets lost or wasted. Food losses and waste amount to roughly 680 billion US dollars in industrialized countries and 310 billion US dollars in developing countries. 155 million people in 55 countries or regions faced a food crisis in the year 2021. Adding the number has now increased to 265 million due to COVID-19 epidemic. Even if just 1/4 of the food currently lost or wasted globally, that is, even if 1/4 of 1.3 billion tons of the food which is getting lost or wasted every year, even if 1/4 of this 1.3 billion tons is saved, it would be enough to feed 870 million hungry people in the world. 870 million hungry people in the world, whereas we require to feed only 265 million people last year in 2021, which were affected due to COVID-19 epidemic. So it shows that almost even if we can save 1/16 of the food which is getting wasted, 1/16 of the food which is getting wasted, we can have a planet with no person hungry. It shows we have a lot of food, but at the same time, we are not able to manage it properly. 35 million people are dying from hunger worldwide. A child dies from hunger every 10 seconds. Poor diets are linked to 20% of all deaths worldwide. Now let us look at medical equipment wastage. At one side, we have 5.25 billion US dollars worth of discarded equipment, and on the other side, no medical care for 100 million people. US medical waste will attain 5.25 billion US dollars by the year 2027. Among regulated and unregulated clinical waste, around 80 to 85% can be reused. Unused supplies in medical facilities are often discarded unnecessarily rather than stored for later use, adding even more unnecessary garbage being carted away to landfills. Reprocessing industry, saving 15 million pounds of medical waste from landfills and reducing costs to hospitals and surgical centers by over 544 million US dollars. The world's poorest countries are paying some of the highest drug prices, with everyday medicines costing up to 30 times more than in the rich nations. Half the world lacks access to the essential health services. 100 million still pushed into extreme poverty because of health expenses. Now let us look at clothing wastage. One side we have 59,000 tons of wasted clothes versus other side 1 out of 8 children affected by cloth poverty. 100 billion garments are produced each year, with 33% going to landfills. Every year, 59,000 tons of used and unsold clothing end up in Chile from all over the world. Every 10 minutes, an estimated 6,000 kilos of clothing and textiles are dumped in landfills. 1 in 8 children without basic clothes. 1 billion children worldwide are multidimensional poor without access to basic accessories. 22,000 children die each day due to inhygiene around the world. Now let us look at vacant homes and shelters. One side, 42 million vacant homes versus an increase of 27% in homelessness. The world has millions of vacant homes. 42 million of its 426 million homes are vacant. Roughly 1 in 10 homes in advanced economies are empty. Japan has topped the list of the nations with the highest percentage of vacant homes, with 13.6% of its dwellings not lived in. 1.3 million are in Canada. The 27% increase in homelessness is likely due to the economic impacts of COVID-19. More than one third of all people facing homelessness services are women and children. For the last 5 years, core homelessness has been rising year on year worldwide. Homeless people are over 9 times more likely to take their own life than the general population. 78% of the homeless people report having a physical health condition, 44% of them having mental health diagnosis, and 41% use drugs and alcohol to cope up with mental health issues. KAILASA's aim is to raise the consciousness level in the world and bring to the fore the real issues facing the world, and through a specialized process of recycling, facilitating the movement of good quality unwanted items from the haves to the haves not. This Chaturmasya, 4 months from July to October 2022 alone, 1 crore people, that is 10 million people, should practice Samadhi to raise their consciousness, and 1 crore people, 10 million people, should be pulled out of poverty. This is the mission of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and KAILASA's aim. There are threefold benefits. For donors, it is a great boon to provide to those in need. For the world, recycling removes a lot of hazardous material from nature, adding to a cleaner environment. For those in need, millions of people around the world will be alive and raised out of poverty, hunger, and inadequate health practices due to lack of medical facilities. It is a win-win-win situation. Over the last 27 years, Sri KAILASA has built a network of legal entities in 140 countries around the world, holding charity status in 118 of these countries. In many countries, Sri KAILASA's entities are registered distributors as well, meaning we can manage the entire process end to end. We will make full use of this network to collect clothing, medical equipment, and food material from the developed nations, transport them, and distribute it to countries and regions in need, with all transportation and distribution expenses sponsored by Sri KAILASA. Our process involves collection of clothing, medical equipment, and foodstuff from various countries around the world, followed by a quality control and processing of these liquids, and finally a distribution of good quality clothing, medical equipment, and food to the countries in need. Now let us look at the impact of Ishana project in numbers. Madurai in India, almost 26,800 servings of food offered to homeless in Jayatinagar, Kilinochi, Sri Lanka, 2,000 meals served in the Mahadeva Swamical Children's Home. Kotagala region, Sri Lanka, 2,500 articles of clothing donated and distributed. Hyderabad region, India, weekly Annadan, feeding hundreds of poor villagers from around the region. Tiruvannamalai, Tamil Nadu, India, non-stop, day and night, Annadan and healing sessions for hundreds of thousands of pilgrims circumambulating the sacred Arunachala. Now, we'll be moving on to the next segment. Solutions to poverty. Solutions to overcome poverty. Life can be equated to two things. One, ability to achieve what you want in the inner or outer world. Two, just getting stuck in both the worlds. These are the only two equations. The right diagnosis. Everybody wants wealth, but they do not increase the life in them to the level they want it. Wealth can be equated to the life energy you express. It is a straight equation because as on now, a normal man has wealth as the first priority in the life. So if you do not have wealth, don't blame anybody. You're not expressing life. Life energy is not happening. The goal of creating wealth is intrinsic part of life. Krishna says very beautifully in Gita, Grahano karmano gatihi. The universe, by its nature, works, works, works. If you have at least the goal of creating wealth, you will be creative. Your energy will be channeled properly. The first priority in life should be for moksha, enlightenment. Till that happens, the second priority can be creating wealth. Creating wealth makes you non-violent because your whole energy becomes creative. Creating wealth brings tremendous interest in life and non-violence. Wealth is not just an object or a thing to be achieved. Wealth is an extension of you. Anything that adds to you is wealth. The quality of health you enjoy, the state of your relationships, the fulfillment you experience in your career, your mental state, your sense of inner fulfillment. All these are measures of the success with which you have created wealth in your life. Wealth is a utility. Wealth is not just even money or currency. Money is one wealth, currency is one wealth, the assets are one wealth, being alive, active is one wealth. All the foot, all the four put together is wealth. Money, currency, assets, being active. Wealth is neither bad nor good, it is a utility. Wealth consciousness means making a clear decision to break out of the myths and mental patterns that impoverish us and draw us again and again into poverty cycle. You don't manifest your desires, you manifest what you believe, what you cognize and perceive as reality. The gap between beliefs and desires. Many of us say, I really desire wealth, but deep down we believe wealthy people are arrogant people, bad people. They do a lot of wrong things. If you believe wealthy people are arrogant, bad, wrong, they do many wrong things. They exploit others. If you have that belief, how are you going to manifest wealth in your life? Now let us look at all the beliefs you carry about wealth. Common misbelief. One of the most common misbelief is wealthy people are arrogant and bad people. You carry a deep resistance of wealth, leading to you will not accumulate wealth. Even if you accumulate, you will carry guilt of wealth. Truth is, arrogance does not come by wealth. Arrogant people will be arrogant whether they have wealth or not. Arrogant means behaving as if you are more important than or know more than other people. But we wrongly associate wealth to arrogance, create a pattern, and start hating wealth as well, the same way we hate arrogance. Another common misbelief is poverty is good. Deep inside us, we label poverty as good quality. We feel reverence and respect for poverty. How are we going to generate wealth then? Another common misbelief is handling wealth is more responsibility. We may feel uncomfortable. Whatever I want, I will not get it. Maybe you came to this conclusion by looking at some of the wealthy people who did not have any time for themselves. Will persistence. Anything you cognize, you create a certain energy field about your cognition. You attract situations, people, everything around you to make that cognition into reality. All you need is will persistence. Your decision. You are not going to give up. Your intention is will persistence. It is possible. You may be desiring to have wealth, but you may not be believing, perceiving, and cognizing it as your possibility. The first and foremost important step we need to do create an energy field of attracting wealth. Create a magnetic field. First step clean up the incompletions and patterns you carry about wealth and create a right space, a powerful magnetic energy center to attract wealth, situations, and people that support you to create wealth, like magnetic energy center for manifesting wealth the way you want. Dig out all the incompletions about money. Keep writing whatever comes to your mind. The moment you remember money, does it bring tremendous pain, suffering, impossibility, all that you knew? What is the emotional energy it invokes in you? The moment you think of money, whatever you feel and think, money is difficult, money is impossible. Unless you cheat, you can't get money. Even if you cheat, somebody will cheat from you. So much goes on inside you about money, your incompletions and with money. Just spend a few minutes and let's dig out all the incompletions, beliefs, mental patterns we have, perceptions, cognitions we have about money. Each belief or cognition starts from a particular incident. Identify the incidents when the wrong or incomplete belief about wealth started forming. Relive and relieve, complete those incompletions. Go back to that same age when the incident happened, when the idea, belief, perception started building. Second step is to consciously decide what you want to manifest in the next 3 months in the wealth dimension. Write clearly what is your intention. What is it you want to manifest in the next 3 months in the field of wealth? Whatever you think as well. You may think more than money, currency. A person as a wealth for your life, or situations as wealth for your life, or for some being active. People feel even extraordinary powers as your wealth. Whatever you consider as your wealth, you want to manifest, attract in next 3 months. Please pen down. With this, we come to the end of this segment, and we also come to the end of the pre-satsang hosting. Now, very shortly, we'll be moving on to today's alive satsang. A quick reminder: Paramashivoham level 3. Paramashivoham level 3, starting from 6th October up until 26th October. We are already in 10th October and Paramashivoham is going on. Paramashivoham is one of the most awaited programs of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasanitananda, His Divine Holiness, Bhagwan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam. Now we are already on 13th October in Paramashivoham. For all those interested in participating and knowing more about Paramashivoham, please go to kailasa.org/Paramashivoham and register yourself for this most awaited program, where you'll be experiencing high states of consciousness, power manifestation. Now, let us prepare ourselves for receiving our beloved Guru, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagwan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, in the upcoming Alive Satsang. So please bring your head, neck, and spine in a straight line and bring your palms together. And let us chant the Mahavakya to receive our beloved Guru in the upcoming Alive Satsang. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Om Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva Samarambam Nithyanandeshwari Paramashiva Shakti Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. I welcome you all with my love and respect. I welcome all the living and practicing Hindus, everyone sitting with us on Navaratri. I welcome all of you with my love and blessings. Paramashiva's message directly from KAILASA. each manifestation of Paramashiva is one of the dimension which includes whole Paramashiva. Listen, Ardhanarishwara does not mean he is only Ardhanarishwara. Ardhanarishwara is the manifestation of complete Paramashiva. You should know that. Even if you achieve any one manifestation, you achieve Paramashiva. If you achieve Nataraja, you achieve Paramashiva. If you achieve Lingarupa, you achieve Paramashiva. You achieve Kalabhairava, you achieve Paramashiva. You achieve Hariharamurti, you achieve Paramashiva. You achieve any one form of the 64 manifestation, you achieve Paramashiva. So, many sampradayas of the Saivite tradition center themselves on one manifestation of Paramashiva. For example, Aghoris center themselves on Mahakala Bhairava. Veerashaivites center themselves on Lingarupa and Veerabhadra. Each sampradaya centers themselves on one form of Paramashiva. Tantra sampradaya centers itself on Ardhanarishwara. So understand, when I give these basic principles, the foundation principles of Tantra Sampradaya, and when you start living it, manifesting it, you achieve Ardhanarishwara directly, and Ardhanarishwara is Paramashiva himself. I'll give you foundational principles of Tantra, whichever can be taught openly. As I told you yesterday, many religions which teaches terrorism, killing of other people, bombing, they all teach their philosophy principles openly. But unfortunately, Hindus do not have right to learn their religion. That's the truth. Don't try to come here and dance in front of me. No, no, no. I am a proud Hindu. I am a free Hindu. Then get lost. Go and try to learn wherever you can. You need to know the truth. Stop being in the delusion you are a free Hindu and you know you have a freedom to learn about Hinduism. First of all, your medicine is banned, including India. Many of the Hindu medicines are banned, including India. Many of your religious practices are banned, including India. the racists, supremacists, used science, logic, rationality with the racist angle and eliminated everything. The core principles of Hinduism. All of you be very clear about it. First of all, Hindu food, Hindu medicine, Hindu cosmology, Hindu science, Hindu sexology, nothing as a legitimate value in any country other than Kailasa. Hindus also have, one section of Hindus have the meat eating lifestyle, but they have tradition, they offer that animal in homa or yajna or to the Kuladevata, then they cook and eat. Is this process legitimate in any country? Tell me. Halal is legitimate in so many countries. Is the Hindu meat making process, is it legitimate in any one country? Tell me. So whether it is Hindu food or Hindu medicine or anything Hinduism is neither legitimate nor allowed to be spread. That's a fact. So how much ever I can speak in open platform, that much I will reveal. Not because I do not have time or knowledge. Hinduism is banned. Be very clear, Hinduism is banned. How many of you know in many states of India, firewalking is banned? It's called Agori practice, black magic. Just 2 days before, one sadhu was practicing Jiva Samadhi science in Uttar Pradesh is arrested. Go and see the news. See, practicing Jiva Samadhi means they make a huge pit, like a 10 feet by 10 feet, and sit inside. Surely the person will not die because there is enough air. It's only sometimes 3 days or sometimes 9 days, like this. Surely that person's life is not in danger. And it's not that they put a concrete slab. No. They put bamboos. On bamboos, they spread mud so that the breathing is possible. So all of you should know Hindu practices are banned. Hinduism is banned in many countries. The core principles, see, westernized Hinduism is allowed, not the Hinduism. So, I will teach, I will reveal the truths, fundamental principles of Tantra as much it can be accepted in public place. Socially polite, politically polite, religiously polite, legally polite. Finally, with all this politeness, what remains? Bull has already become ox. You know the difference between the two. Bull has already become ox. As on now, only the castrated Hinduism is allowed to be preached or practiced. Sorry to use a strong word, but that is the truth. I have to tell you the truth. So don't blame me. Take responsibility. And I tell you, any country you get a diplomatic relation and get an embassy status, you can all gather in those your country embassies. From Kailasa, I will teach the Hinduism as it is. So you have a religious freedom. Embassy for Kailasa is for you to learn Hinduism completely with religious freedom. Otherwise, I can teach only castrated Hinduism. Because that much only is socially allowed. Socially polite, politically polite, morally polite, legally polite. Religiously polite. With all this politeness, bull has become ox. Let me come back to Tantra now. Listen. Any action, whether breathing, thinking, eating, any action is expression of Shakti. Paramashiva Shakti. Listen. Shakti is embodiment of love. Shakti is embodiment of love. Realizing the love manifestation of your consciousness and entering into any action becomes manifestation of you, not manipulation of life. Listen, I will repeat. If you enter into the act of eating, knowing that it is because of your tremendous love manifestation, you are eating to strengthen your body, to celebrate life more and more. You will never manipulate food for taste. You will make sure food is always strengthening you. You will like, you will enjoy, you will be addicted only to healthy food. Same principle, apply it to music, to visions, visuals, to smell, to touch, and to sex. The same principle. Be very clear. World is created to empower you, to make you manifest the ultimate, not for you to manipulate. Listen. World is created for you to manifest Paramashiva, not to manipulate the world. In every level, celebrating the core love is Tantra. Yesterday I was explaining one more principle. There may be various reasons you have why you want sexual activity. Sometimes bodily compulsion, sometimes sudden hormonal surge, sometimes the kind of the warmth it gives, sometimes to confirm the relationship is still alive, sometimes even it's like a power. You declare power over someone. It can be various reasons. Many traditions guide you, teach you, ask you to do something and not to do something. But Tantra is a unique tradition. It changes only your conscious perception. The way you hold you and the way you hold the other person involved with you in the sexual act and the way you understand the sexual act. Only these conscious perceptions are changed immediately. The action becomes yoga, path for you to have union with Paramashiva, cosmos. Listen. Precise truth. Precisely, I am describing the ultimate truth. With anything you have yoga, union, that becomes part of you. Whether the food you eat, or the music you listen, visuals you see, or the smell you smell, or the touch you enjoy. Listen carefully. Here I want to tell you one great truth I learned from Arunagiri Yogeshwara. அஞ்சோடு நீ எது பண்ணாலும் ஆறாவதாய் நீ ஆவாயப்பா. Once he told me, 5 பேர் படிப்பாளிங்க, கூட நீ இருந்தினா 6வது படிப்பாளி ஆயிடுவ. 5 பேர் யோகம் பண்றவங்க கூட நீ இருந்தினா 6வது யோகியா நீ ஆயிடுவ. 5 பேர் தப்பு பண்றவங்களோட நீ வாழ்ந்தினா 6வது தப்பு பண்றவனா மாறிடுவ. 5 பேர் ஞானிகளோட நீ வாழ்ந்தினா 6வது ஞானியா மாறிடுவ. 5 பணக்காரங்களோட வாழ்ந்தினா 6வது பணக்காரனா மாறிடுவ. வெளியிலையும் உள்ளையும் ரெண்டுலையும் இதுதான் உண்மை. I'll translate. Listen. If you live with 5 rich people, associate yourself with 5 rich people, you will become a 6th rich person. If you associate yourself with 5 enlightened beings, you will become the 6th enlightened being. If you associate yourself with 5 people who are building body, doing yoga, gym, you will become the 6th person who builds body and doing yoga, gym. If you associate yourself with the 5 fools, you will become the 6th fool. If you associate yourself with the 5 negative people, you will become the 6th negative person. If you associate yourself with the 5 seekers, you will become 6th seeker. Arunagiri Yogeshwara told, this is what is the truth for inside and outside. These 5 senses, what they do and you associate yourself with them, you become the 6th of that. Whether outside 5 people or inside 5 senses. If your 5 senses are all the time seeking Paramashiva and you associate with those 5 senses, you will become Paramashiva. If your 5 senses are always seeking pleasure and you associate yourself with that 5 senses, you will always be the pleasure seeker. If your 5 senses are living Paramashiva and you associate yourself with that 5 senses, you will become Paramashiva. Listen. Tantra is all about making your 5 senses manifest Paramashiva. So by associating with your 5 senses continuously, you will become Paramashiva. If you associate with yourself with 5 yogis, you will become the 6th yogi. If you associate yourself with the 5 workaholic people, you will become a 6th workaholic person. If you associate yourself with the 5 lazy people, you will become the 6th lazy person. If you associate yourself with 5 retired people, you will become the 6th retired person. If you associate yourself with 5 conscious senses which is manifesting Paramashiva, you will become the 6th person manifesting Paramashiva. This is the foundation of Tantra. This is the foundation of Tantra. Listen. Constantly let your 5 senses manifest Paramashiva. Constantly let your 5 senses manifest Paramashiva. With anything you associate, you become that. the food which is higher conscious, means cooked by higher conscious person, offered to Paramashiva by the higher conscious person and eaten, makes your taste sense higher conscious person. With each sense, the physical touch or the intimacy or relationship with the higher conscious person makes you higher conscious. This applies to all five senses. Now listen. The music, poetry created by higher conscious being, when you consume that, you reach the same higher consciousness. With this understanding, look at the whole life. Many times, naturally, you will not get a higher conscious person to touch or the experience the nearness. For that, Paramashiva gives the solution. For the time being, you and your partner can raise yourself to higher consciousness through the powerful cognitions about yourself and about the other person, about the sexual act. Then enter into the act. That is what is called tantric sex, tantric relationship. Elaborately, Paramashiva explains multiple tantric rituals to manifest various powers. Various powers, third eye power, so many other powers. Usually, I can say, I am trying to generalize and give you the basic understanding. Usually, in tantric rituals, all the five senses are involved. And it is not like a wild as it is projected to you by the modern day racist narrators, the racist people who narrate Hinduism have abused Agora and Tantra Sampradayas. They have beaten it and killed it. And unfortunately, Hindus themselves fell for this divide and rule policy. These pure Vedantis, who can be very easily westernized, who can be digested by the racists, they just stepped back and said, okay, after all, Tantra and Agora Sampradaya only is getting destroyed. What is there for us? Let us escape from this war. But you don't know. After destroying Tantra Sampradaya and Agora Sampradayas, the racists are not going to keep quiet. They are going to turn their birangi, turn their gun on you Vedantis, who kept quiet when other Sampradayas were destroyed. Once the Vedanta is destroyed, then they will move to the other Sampradayas. That's all. If Tantra Sampradaya is properly taught, world's biggest problem, depression and obesity, mental disorders, will not even exist. Not only they will be healed, they will not be passed on to the next generations. Listen, even India is suffering with obesity. I can't imagine that India is suffering with obesity. They are spending billions of dollars. It has become a load on Indian society and Indian government, I tell you. All you need is just only one thing. Popularize the habit of fasting. Hindus are known for fasting. Any practicing Hindu will fast once in a week for their Ishtadevata. Shaivites will do on Monday. People who worship Subramanya Kumara will do on Tuesday. People who worship Devi will do on Friday. People who worship Vishnu will do on Saturday. It used to be lifestyle. Unfortunately, the fasting was destroyed brutally by the medical opinions given by the racists to eliminate Hinduism from the common man's life. Just if the fasting was brought back, India can save billions of dollars. The money it is wasting on diabetes, the money it is wasting on high blood pressure, the money it is wasting on obesity, related other physical, mental disorders. I'm telling you from my experience. Due to my continuous travel routine for few years, I did not observe my fastings properly. Now, I got back to my fasting lifestyle. I tell you, I am in best way of existing. I should say that I am in my best form. Lankanam Parama Aushadam. Abhimanyu Banerjee is asking, are there any prerequisites to practice Tantra? Abhimanyu Banerjee, if you practice Tantra, you will be put in jail within 48 hours. So, the basic prerequisite to practice Tantra is you need to be in a place where Hinduism is legitimate religion. Tantra is a legitimate religion. So, Abhimanyu Banerjee, that is the prerequisite to practice Tantra. Abhimanyu Banerjee, you should know that. I know by your title Banerjee, you are from Bengal. Bengal is the land of Tantra, and sorry to say that now it's almost 99.999% is gone. Bowls are illegal. The Tantric sadhus you find in those days in Tarapit, cemeteries. Cemetery is not a right word. Smashana. Tarapit Smashana. And many smashanas of Bengal. 100 years before, you will find thousands of tantrics and agoris. Now, you can't even find one or two who are practicing the science. Let me give you the basic truths. so that at least the basic truths will not be killed, destroyed in course of this racist attack and genocide on Hinduism. There is not a single record any sadhu practicing Jiva Samadhi science died by accident or any mishap. But police arrests just, I think, last 2 or 3 days before, police arrested one sadhu who was practicing Jiva Samadhi science, including their guru. All the three were arrested. Guru, guru's assistant, and the sadhu was practicing. All three were arrested in UP. It means what? The next generation is going to completely lose the Jiva Samadhi science. Science of mastering the death. It is not actually suicide. It is mastering the death. Appa, I am feeling so blessed and fortunate. I am born 40 years before and I have mastered all these sciences. When the so-called law is not used to strangulate us, kill Hinduism, to destroy Hinduism, the law is being used. Before that started happening, fortunately I was born and already trained by my gurus. Oh God. Actually still that Jiva Samadhi pit which was dug for me where I used to sit is still there in Tiruvannamalai. It is not fully closed. When I was 10, 12, in those days, my gurus used to make me sit. I can tell you, I can just repeat the whole exact lines I heard from my gurus. Tiranda Guhayayin Veppambinju Dupamum விளக்கெண்ணெய் தீபமும் வைக்க பட்டுநூல் அசையும் அளவிற்கு சுவாசம் இயங்கத் துவங்கும். சுவாச நாசம் மரண லட்சணம் அல்ல. மூடு குகையாயின் ஒரு விதியும் திறப்பு குகையாயின் ஒரு விதியும் பாதாள குகையாயின் ஒரு விதியும் ஆக மூவிதிகள் மூலம் சுவாசம் மீண்டும் மீட்கலாம். These are the words I exactly heard from my gurus. I'll try to translate and give you the whole brief. My gurus used to put me in Jiva Samadhi practice. It's like I'm supposed to sit in unclutching absolutely without moving, and for certain number of days. In every level. The principles I am sharing will strengthen your consciousness, make you manifest more and more powers. Whether it is physical level, mental level, social level, spiritual level. In every level, Tantra strengthens you. Tantra makes you manifest the ultimate. Now I'll translate exactly what I heard from my gurus, which I was talking. If the cave is closed cave, a different kind of a smoke and light need to be used for regaining the breathing back. And if the cave is open cave, a different kind of a smoke and light should be used to regain the breathing back. If it is underground cave, a different kind of a smoke and the light should be used for regaining the breathing back. Not sensing the pulse or the breathing is not the sign of death. Listen carefully. Not regaining. Ordinary consciousness or ordinary breathing or the ordinary pulse does not mean that person is dead. With a proper herbs and method, the person can be brought back. All the signs is practically dying. I was fortunate to be brought up by my gurus who used all the sciences and trained me. Anyhow, let me at least put it on record. But one good news I have for all you guys. In KAILASA, because with the grace of Paramashiva, we have sovereign land, I will make sure all these sciences are kept alive as a living lifestyle. Not just as a bookish knowledge, not just as theories and ideas, as a living knowledge. There will be thousands of my disciples, sannyasis, mastered this Jiva Samadhi science. I'll do that. That's the good news I have for you guys. Let me now start describing. I'm actually overflowing, filled with the memories of my gurus and how they trained. They had a dog They used to make the dog sit outside the cave, and the dog will regularly, once in 10 hours, will come inside the cave and bark. If I open my eyes, it will stay with me. If I don't open my eyes, it will run to my guru and get them. It was so well trained. I still remember. I just wanted to put it on record. The dog was also part of my guru's team training me. The dog's name is Mani. Fortunately, we have a photograph of that dog. This is the dog with my grandmother. My grandmother was literally a Gupta yogini, means hidden yogini. And she lived with them and she was literally helping them, assisting my gurus to train me, to groom me. All those plants you see in that photograph are personally planted by me for my Anmartha Puja. Those plants were all the flowers for my Atmartha Puja. And I had a small temple built for me inside the backyard of the house. So that is the backyard. Anyhow. Listen. Make your 5 senses manifest Paramashiva. Live with those 5 senses, which is manifesting Paramashiva. You will become Paramashiva. That is what I mean by, if you live with 5 people who are manifesting Paramashiva, you will become the 6th Paramashiva. Same way, make your 5 senses manifest Paramashiva. Live with those senses. You will become 6th Paramashiva. That's it. The next principle I wanted to explain. Tantra is an intense tapas-centric tradition. For example, let me first describe the word tapas. Tapas means burning away all the obstructions to manifest Paramashiva. Tapas means, in Sanskrit, burning away. Burning away all the obstructions you have to manifest Paramashiva is tapas. For some people, their attachment to the taste will be stopping them, making them addicted to certain food, destroying the quality of their attention, memory, quality of consciousness, the quality of the mind, the mental health, physical health. Here, tapas means making that person taste, enjoy everything as he wants in a controlled condition, so that the patterns of the addiction, food addiction, taste addiction, greed for the taste gets burnt away. That controlled condition is what is the Guru's presence. Guru knows where he is stuck. He will be allowed to enjoy it, enjoy that addiction where he is stuck. to the extreme till that patterns are burnt once and for all and is free from that conditionings, from that patterns, from that karma, from that curse, from that suffering, pain. Whether you are addicted to certain taste, food, you are addicted to certain kind of the music, sound, you are addicted to certain kind of a visuals, like a porn addiction, whether you are addicted to certain kind of a touch, not just sexual activity, even the other than sexual activity, the addiction to the touch, anything, of course, including sexual activity, for anything you are addicted and not letting your Paramashiva manifest in you. Not letting the unclutching intensely seep through your being. Then in controlled conditions, that means under the presence and guidance of the Guru, you are made to go through certain actions which liberates you once and for all. That is what is exactly by the word tapas in Tantra. The good news I have for you is, by the grace of Paramashiva, we got an amazing sovereign land. So I will revive all this without putting any person, anybody's life in risk. See, I know this system. There is no life risk at all. It can be beautifully done with all the support, care, love, just like a flight crew, how the flight crew supports, makes your flight journey smooth, easy, comfortable, safe, along with the pilot. I just need to build my flight crew. The great news I have for you is, actually, I have even built my flight crew. The team which is absolutely loving, caring, supporting, making sure the tapas happens in you and you are free. This is the good news and great news. The bad news is, it is so sad. The land in which this knowledge has blossomed, many countries disowning this knowledge, disowning this great science. 56 Hindu nations. Now all 56 have disowned. Only in Kailasa it is going to be alive. Actually, I am not happy about this monopoly. No. I want this knowledge to flourish all over the world as a legitimate science. I tell you, I have seen my gurus demonstrating this science. Somebody came, I still remember, somebody came to my guru with a cancer. My guru had, his name was Narayana Swami Tata. He had a ring with a black stone. He just removed that ring and put it in his hand and told, come back after 15 days. He did not give any medicine, nothing. He came back after the 15 days, the cancer disappeared. simple signs. He has stored in that black stone so much of intense energy of Shani. Shani is the lord of longevity. He just put that, and Shani's energy blessed him. He got healed. These are all replicable, demonstrable, practical signs, cosmic signs. It can be reproduced, reproducible, replicatable. It's not one incident or some rare happening. It is replicable, reproducible, simple signs. It's not placebo effect. Be very clear. If it is more than 30 or 40%, then it cannot be called as placebo effect. I have seen my gurus doing this with 100% result. Meena Joshi is writing, Swamiji, do we have to become Adinavasi to do tapas under Guru's guidance? Meena Joshi, first thing. Now only I found a safe place by Paramashiva's grace and working it for the first batch sannyasis. Then after I have settled comfortably, absolutely safe, everything is settled, then I will open it for Sarvanyapita Ejamans, Sarvanyapita Kartas. Then I will open it to the public. Step by step I will open. That is what is practical possible. Whatever is see, I am a person who want to make this available for everyone. But I have to first safeguard the science and me and the first batch team which is getting trained in this science. Then I can open it to the next batch, next people, next team. He is the Narayana Swami Tata who was cured cancers just through a small stone. Just through small stone. But of course, energized. He was wearing it for quite a long time and his tapas, his energy is there in that. And he knows precisely his only problem is that what is the problem of the patient, and he gave that and became all right. Meena Joshi, your question is like, Swamiji, do we have to become Adinavasi to do tapas under Guru's guidance? Understand? If you want to become a soldier in any one country's army, naturally you have to become a citizen of that country. Only then the knowledge and the information can be shared with you. Same way, there are certain knowledge and information can be shared only those committed beings, only for them, though these channels, the higher energy channels, can be awakened. Not for the onlookers or the people who try to do window shopping, like guru shopping. Surely it cannot be given for them who are sitting and negotiating, who are trying to have bargain. But I will open it after the first circle. Is able to receive you all and care and support in the whole process and bring success. Success.
पुरुषर्गलिं ज्ञानी योगिगलिं तव செய்யவே இமையசை விடு தீட்சை தரு தரிசனம். சதாசிவா சதாசிவா நித்யானந்தா சதாசிவா 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 நித்யானந்தா சதாசிவா.
सुराधिपं नमस्कृत्य शशाङ्क कृतशेखरं कपालमालिनं देवं प्रणतोऽस्मि सदाशिवं प्रणतोऽस्मि सदाशिवं.
सदाशिवा सदाशिवा नित्यानन्दा सदाशिवा 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 नित्यानन्दा सदाशिवा.
कालेश
I bless you all. Let's all radiate with integrity, authenticity, responsibility, enriching, causing, living Shuddhadvaita Saivam Paramadvaitam. The state, space, powers, being, superconsciousness. Kailasa, Maha Kailasa of Paramashiva. Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Eternal bliss. Nithyananda. Thank you. Be blissful.